Hello, and welcome to Moderating Life, DLG's 20th anniversary podcast. I'm Elvia de la Garza.
And I am Edgardo de la Garza. And just every good focus group starts with a warm-up, so is this podcast. We are doing this series to celebrate the 20th anniversary of DLG Research, a milestone that is very important to us. And along the way, we're going to talk about stories, about the people that help us and shaped who we are today, and projects that left a mark. And of course, we'll start moderator style with a warm-up. Elvia, why don't you kick us off?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Elvia, and I am the youngest sibling, obviously. Let me start from the beginning. I was born and raised in Mexico, in León, Guanajuato, and I came to the U.S. when I was 17 to go to college. I attended the University of Texas at Austin.
Hook 'em Horns.
And Hook 'em Horns, and graduated with a bachelor degree in advertising. After UT, I went to work for one of the top Hispanic agencies in Miami, Zuby Advertising. I spent 5 years with them. And after that, I moved to Houston to start my own market research firm with you know who? My brother.
That's right. And that was the best decision we could have done.
Yes, yes.
Elvia, you studied advertising. How did you end up in consumer research?
It's funny because it is almost by mistake. You know, when I graduated, my intention was to work in account services. But when I interviewed with Zuby, they said, they told me that the only position that they had opened at the time was in research. But they offered to switch me to account services after 6 months. And I said, okay, let's do it. But, 6 months passed, and I, of course, did not want to move. Those first months, I really fell in love with market research, talking to consumers, analyzing data, connecting the points, building stories, building strategies. It was just not interesting. It was honestly magical. And yes. And to be able to work with all of the categories and all of the brands and different clients, I mean, it is priceless. I was hooked from the very beginning. So obviously, I never left.
That's awesome.
Yes. So tell us about you. How did you end up here?
Well, my story with market research started way earlier when I was about 16, 17 years old, still back in León, where we grew up. I was actually in high school and we had skipped class that day. We were just hanging out with our friends, up to no good. And then this guy just approached us and said, hey, you guys want to do a focus group? It's about alcohol. So, of course, being a teenager, and we were like, oh, of course, let's do it. But we have to go back to class eventually. So this guy went and talked to the principal and somehow convinced him to let us attend the sessions and skip the rest of the day. So we went across the street. There was a very reputable, nice hotel.
I remember.
And across from the high school. And we sat around the room and the guy said, open bar, whatever you want. Let's talk about, what you like to drink and everything.
Weren't you 16 at the time?
Exactly. Completely responsible. It was crazy, but that was the 90s. It was the 90s. What are you going to do about it? We order things that I've only heard adults ordering before. We had no idea what we were doing, but after the third round of drinks, he said, okay, let's order beer and let's talk about the difference between liquor and beer and the moments for beer. And we, of course, were 16. We had no idea what we were talking about, but we left quite happy that day with a nice buzz and a cheap wristwatch as an incentive for that. So that was my first interaction with marketing research.
That is so wild.
It's super wild. Then in college, I worked for 7-Eleven for like a year or so, my freshman year. But then I made the jump to the Office of the Survey Research. And I started there because, I heard that they were paying a little bit more for bilingual people. Now, our first language is Spanish, and I needed to practice my English. So I thought, okay, that makes sense for me to be on the phone because it was a data collection center and practice my English, conducting interviews and calling people on the phone. So we did that, and it was a old school data collection center, a bunch of rows of phones, not cell phones, of course not, of traditional phones, and they would give us individual sheets of paper with the name and the number and areas for notes, and we would dial for hours. They give us about 75 to 100 every shift. So, I mean, it was brutal because we would call people during dinner time and when they were busy and we got hung up on, and
Yeah.
but it really helped. It really helped with my confidence, with my language.
Of course.
So I was very, very happy that I got that job, and I did that for a couple of years. Now, my very first professional job was at Bromley Agler and Associates agency in San Antonio as part of Adrian Polito's very first strategic planning team dedicated for the Hispanic consumer. It was a great, great team, and we had elite clients. We had Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble and the Home Depot, and it was great to work with that team. Account planning was very new. It was fantastic. And of course, I fell in love with that. I manage all of the secondary data sources, Siemens, Yankelovich, all of those studies that you can purchase and you can play with the data. So I earned the nickname Data Boy. So they needed to find out something. They asked Data Boy, and I would go into my little systems and
Yes, who
and get
knew
the
Data
answers.
Boy was going to end up in research full time for probably the rest of his life. That is amazing. Well, you're starting already mentioning some names, and I that actually it's a great transition to talk about the people that have impacted us and the professionals that we are right now. I want to do that, and I've been 25 years at this, 20 with DLG, 5 with Zuby, and I can still remember quotes or advice that people have told me on the way. And if I was to think about mentors, like who has really made an impact in my professional life, I mean, two people come to my mind immediately, Raul Alfonso and Pam McGrath.
Raul was your first boss, right?
Yes, he was my first and only because he was UT, Zuby, and then DLG Research. He was my only job, my only boss, but he was amazing. I mean, he literally took me under his wing and taught me pretty much all research fundamentals. I must start with saying who he was. Raul was the research director at Zuby, and obviously me coming fresh out of college, I knew nothing. And remember, research wasn't even in my plan. So I really did know nothing, but he taught me all the fundamentals. But more importantly, he told me how to do it right, how to do it ethically, how to not cut corners, how to deliver maybe not so good findings to clients or to the creative team and do it gracefully but also clearly and firmly. It was amazing to work with him because he had this integrity unmatched, really. So
That's awesome.
it was wonderful. And when it was my time to leave, my 5 years at Zuby, I worked for him. And when it was time for leave, he was genuinely happy for me.
That's great.
And,
That's a good
that's
guy.
it. That's the type of boss, the type of mentor that really make an impact.
Absolutely.
So that was Raul. And then there was Pam. And Pam McGrath, Pam McGrath was the group account director for SC Johnson at Zuby. And from day one, again, I was fresh out of college and I was actually working with the SCJ team. And from day one, she truly saw me and she talked to me about the business like if I was if I had more time in Zuby. Like, I don't know, she made me feel that I knew what I was doing. And she started teaching me. And I actually have a funny story, which might sound silly, but at the moment made an impact on me.
Let's hear it.
The first time ever that I flew business class was with Pam McGrath, and because of Pam McGrath. We were on our way to Racine, Wisconsin for an SCJ meeting, and it was a team of 5 or 6 of us going. And she had the highest flying status that there could
Super
possibly
elite.
be.
Oh, man.
Yes. And you know,
Yes.
those that you can
Those were the
always-
days that we would
Yes.
fly everywhere. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. So, anyways, she could always operate one person, and that was my first trip to Racine. I think the first, or maybe one of the first, anyways. But she chose me
Chose you for?
to go to first class. She chose
Okay.
me to be upgraded.
Okay, you were her travel companion.
Yes,
with the
yes.
upgrade to
And
first
that
class.
by
That's nice.
itself was amazing because it was my first time flying business, and you know, it was pretty cool.
That's a
the
big deal.
comfy seat, it is comfy. But more than that, again, she chose me not just to sit there. She talked to me. She told me who the clients were. She said, well, we're going to meet this and so. And they are, you know, she just gave me all the insights. And at the moment, it made me feel so important. It made me feel seen. It made me felt taken care of. It was amazing. And one thing I must say about Pam is that she always spoke to the winner in me, even before I started winning. I had not won nothing, and that was amazing. That gives you wings, and that is priceless.
Yeah, she was a great person. She's no longer with us, right?
No.
Yeah, may she rest in peace. Absolutely. I got to tell you about a guy that also is no longer with us, Ed Cantu. He taught me a very good lesson very early in my career. Again, he was part of that account planning team at Bromley Aguilar and Associates in San Antonio, and it was the very first time that I attended as part of the agency to focus groups, and I was taking it all in. I was enjoying the M&Ms. I was fascinated with the conversation and how the moderator was handling the conversation and the insights that we drew, and I enjoyed a lot. So the next day in our debrief, he says, Edgardo, that was your first groups. Excellent. How did it go? Pull out your notes. I didn't take any notes.
No way.
At all.
Rookie
at
mistake.
all. Rookie mistake. I was just there eating M&Ms, enjoying the sessions, and I did not take a single note. So he called me out. But he called me out in a funny, respectful way, but also sending a very clear message. And he reminded me, always take notes. Like, you don't go this for entertainment. You go this to learn. Take notes.
That was good mentoring there. You know, it's not necessarily soft or but it's real.
It's very
helpful.
real, and
Yes.
it helped me. And guess what? I took notes from that day going forward.
I bet
and
you did.
every meeting, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, as business owner, the person that, even perhaps without even knowing, but that taught me a lot, was Alex Lopez Negrete from Lopez Negrete Communications here in Houston. I was his director of research for about 3 years or so, and I saw him interact with clients. And the way he speaks, the way he makes eye contacts and gives a little smile, and it's this old swag. And of course, a lot of knowledge, and he speaks with authority. I was just amazed at the way he connects with the client, and I learned a lot, and I'm taking those learnings, and we've been applying them for the past 20 years now that we have our business here. But man, that guy is fantastic. It's truly a masterclass to see him work.
That is amazing. I mean, and if you really think about it, we've been so lucky to, you know, not only work with companies, world-known companies, but also with people that not only know the cultural or multicultural piece, but also care to do it. And if you think about it, every single project is a classroom. We're always learning.
Absolutely. We're learning from the consumers, we're learning from the clients, and sometimes we also do the teaching, let's be honest, because we have clients that approach us that they're new to market research or not as familiar, or they're not familiar with the multicultural piece of it. And now we're becoming the mentors.
That's right.
20 years in the business, we're not the youngest ones in the room anymore. So many times we need to talk to our clients and explain them and show them the ropes of marketing research. And then it's an interesting dynamic to see that change.
Yes, it's really humbling when people come to us with guidance. And I think it's an honor to be able to provide them. And I hope I am someone's Raul, someone's Pam. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. We're guiding, teaching, sometimes gently challenging. And that's the heart of research, asking questions and listening and helping others listen too.
It really is the magic of what we do. And that is exactly what we're going to be exploring in this podcast. Not just our story, but the stories behind insights, the people, and the passion that built DLG over the last 20 years.
So this episode really is a love letter to those mentors who shaped us, who challenged us, and the people that believed in us.
And of course, it is a reminder to pay it forward. Client, a colleague, a curious friend, a fellow researcher, welcome. Let's warm up and get into it.
That's it for episode 1. Thank you from Elvia and I at DLG Research.
Insightful research.
Actionable results.
See you next time.